Hello there, welcome back to another part of the FS Masterclass by Simon Chege, and today we are going to be cloning the skin. So in the last three videos, we talked about the art and the skill of mixing our color layer, and I said for you to get a nice outcome from your frequency separation, mixing is going to be the most crucial part, and courtesy of that, mixing is the most difficult part also of this workflow. Actually, from my years of teaching frequency separation, mixing is where a lot of people give up, but like I took time and did 3 videos about mixing just to give you guys the idea that mixing is not as difficult as it may look at first, and the idea is to become good at mixing, then you're going to become fast at mixing. So from the previous stages, I finalized mixing my image, and this is what I have here. And I don't know what you have on your end, but in case you are working on the same image, you should have something close to this. Let me just clarify, there's no single day you're going to mix the same image twice and get the same outcome. There's going to be a difference always. So it's not possible for me to have the same kind of look that you have on your computer, but as long as you have the major blemishes and decolorations are sorted, that means that your mixing was nicely done. So this is the image after mixing, and this is the image before mixing. You can see the difference that we have made. It's not day and night, but it's very impactful and it is very necessary. So once we are done with doing that, and remember, you always mix on the color copy layer. So we are going to go to turn on the texture layer like that, and now you can have this is our image with this color mixed, but we still with some texture problems that we need to take care of in the texture layer. So what you need to do now is select the texture copy layer up here, and you're going to be using the clone stamp to get rid of the texture issues that we have in our photo. So the reason we work when you're mixing, we are going to mix with the texture layer off, because this way we can be able to tell exactly where the color is and where the texture is not, because you can't see the texture. So because if you are to mix this way, you cannot tell apart where the color is and where the texture is, so you might continue mixing to fix something that is in the other layer. Okay, but when you're going to be cloning, we are going to be cloning with the color layer on. So you select the texture copy and you pick the clone stamp. The shortcut is S. And how this one works is, like the name suggests, it is the clone stamp. So it makes an exact copy of a texture or a color. That is what we call cloning. Then we stamp that over about another one to get rid of it. So for example, when using it for this particular kind of workflow, we are going to be cloning a good skin texture, then stamping it over a bad skin texture to remove the bad skin texture. So does it make sense? So for example, let me start from up here. There's a few things that we need to take care of. So let me just circle them a bit. Let me pick the usual brush tool. We need to take care of things like this. I hope you can see them. So these are texture problems that we have in our image. Okay, so we need to get rid of this. I hope now you can see them. Let me undo. And now, like I said, you're going to be using the clone stamp. The shortcut is S. And what we need to do, we need to zoom into our image first, because we said the texture layer is the high frequency layer and it is changing a lot. So therefore, when you're going to be cloning, you cannot be cloning from very far in the image as relative to what you're going to be removing. The idea is you come right next to what you want to remove. For example, if I want to remove this one here, I'm going to come right next to it. I'm going to press Alt to take a sample like that. So once I hit that, you can see now my brush is in grayscale. I'm going to confirm it has a hardness of around 25%. And you do not want the texture brush to be very soft. So then once I have that, I'm going to just come here and stamp over that one. You see what happened? So I'm going to come to this next one, sample by pressing Alt, then stamp over it. So press Alt, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp. So whenever we are going to be taking our sample, we are going to be pressing down Alt. Whenever you are going to be stamping our sample, we are not going to be pressing down any key. So the idea is, as you are sampling, you press down your Alt, you get your clone, then after cloning, you release your Alt, go to where you want to fix that particular texture to, and just click once. Okay, so the idea is clone, stamp, clone, stamp. And for every texture that you're going to be stamping, you must clone anew. So you cannot take a texture from here, then stamp it on this one here. You see, it looks different because the texture here is not the same as the texture up here. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to take right next to it and do that. Can I undo that? Doesn't look so good. Yes, looks better. Clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp. So that is our second song after small circular strokes in the mixing part. The song in the cloning part is clone, stamp, clone, stamp. And I said whenever you're cloning, you press down your alt. Then whenever you're stamping, you don't press down anything. So clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp. Someone give me a beat, man. Clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp. And now if you come up here, you can notice some wild hair that we took care of partly in the color layer, and we need to take care of the rest of them in the texture layer. So what you need to do is, I'm going to come and take a clone here, come to the hair and just go with it like that. Come to this other one. So this wild hair that you see remaining is going to be in the texture layer because we have already removed the part of it that was in the color layer. Okay, and now you can see the wild hair that was running into the face. We have this one, just a bit of it left, and now we are good to go. So let me just toggle my texture copy off to see the progress that I've made. So let me turn that off. You can see that is before we cloned and stamped our texture layer, and that is after we cloned and stamped our texture layer. That's beautiful, guys. That's good. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. So what you need to do is keep doing more of these to the point that all the texture issues in the image are fixed. Another thing that we need to do at this particular point, we can still make use of the texture layer and the clone stamp tool to fix some issues. For example, you can tell her eyebrows had not been shaven before you did the shoot, and we might need to shape them a bit. So using the same tool, I'm going to zoom into the image, and I'm going to use the same principle of cloning and stamping. Clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp. And you can see I'm cloning right next to where I'm stamping. I'm not cloning from so far away and stamping it there. You can see like this one. I can do it from the top, and we can do this till we are done. Might take a lot of time, but this is another thing that you can fix using frequency separation. So you can see we are technically shaving eyebrows shaving and shaping eyebrows using frequency separation. So like I normally say, a face has so many nice uses as long as you use it nicely and use it non-destructively. So like you can see, if I turn off the texture layer, you can see I've not done it perfectly, but if I took time and did this, I could achieve that outcome of getting rid of all the wild hairs in the eyebrows. So coming down right here, I can fix this also like that. Clone, stamp, clone, stamp, clone, stamp, and you're going to do this for the rest of the image until all the blemishes that we want gone in the texture layer are totally gone. Okay, and like you can notice, in the color layer we mixed the whole face or the whole skin, but in the texture layer we only clone and stamp where there is need for us to clone and stamp. Where the texture is nice, we do not even bother with it. Okay, so you only clone and stamp where there's a texture issue that needs us to fix, and that is how cloning and stamping is done. So cloning and stamping as compared to mixing is way easier and faster, because like you can see, you can be able to if we do not have the to clone our eyebrows, we'll have already finished with the cloning needed for this particular image. So that is how you clone and you stamp. You go to a good texture, press down your alt, clone the sample by clicking once, then go to a bad texture, release all your keys, then just click once over the bad texture to get rid of it. After doing this effectively, you are ready to go to the next part of the process, which is finalizing on the image. Okay, so see you around.